Welcome to another episode of Outcast Podcast. And today we have a guest from across the pond waiting to join in. Have a lot of exciting news to talk about. But first, let's welcome the driver of the number tree car, the leprechaun machine, Al Reid.
Welcome, Al.
Well, lads, how are you all getting on?
Uh,
Did you like that number tree car, number tree?
Number three, with 33 liters of fuel in it.
sure, say
Yeah,
tree.
that's right.
Um, Real quick, Al. We'll start right away. Did you grow up uh, enjoying racing or racing yourself?
No, no, I was never really into racing. My dad was never into racing. Neither horse racing or no type of racing, to be honest. My dad was a panel beater. My mother was a dressmaker. So uh, the only exposure I suppose I had to racing at a very, very young age was watching the Formula One on TV as a kid. And then I remember when I was about 13 years old, I came home from school one time and I found out one of my friends was racing go karts, and I was like, Dad, can we buy a go kart? We go racing go karts. He was like, No, why would you want to do something like that? So that was kind of the end of that. Then, yeah, didn't really have any real knack for it or wants to go for it. I suppose it was just kind of like I'd watch it if it was on, but other than that, I wasn't really bothered. I loved it watching the Formula One throughout the '90s when Michael Schumacher was at his peak, and a little bit early 2000s. But after that, then when Hamilton came in, I just didn't bother watching it. So
Did you like did I guess what kind of games did you play growing up? Like was it racing games or different kind of games like shooter games, or did you even play games growing up or
yeah, I just save up my own PlayStation, my PS1 back in like '97, '96, something like that. I had to save up. I'm giving away my age now, but yeah, I had to save up all my money. I think it was 130 Irish pounds back then, uh, and went in and got the first game I got was Air Combat, and the second game I got was Destruction Derby 2, and
I
that was a
loved that
hell of
game.
fun.
I
Dude, that was a
loved that
brilliant
game.
game. Brilliant game. I loved. I think it was the second track. I think it was the canyon and had a big jump. You just flew off it. I was like, that was such an amazing game. But like, yeah, that was the start of racing, I suppose. If you think about it like that, and then from there on PlayStation got into Gran Turismo, and then Gran Turismo was so much fun. But I was so young playing it. I was only maybe like I don't know 10, 11, 12, something like that. And I remember, like, do you ever play Gran Turismo before?
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
Right. So you remember you had to go through all licenses to get the license to move on to the next set of races or whatever, right?
That was my favorite part.
I
I like
hated it.
that.
I hated it. I remember coming out of my room in such a tantrum, giving out that I couldn't pass this particular license. And I'd say if I do it now, I'd probably do it the first time. But man, I was kicking and screaming and giving out like feck, so I was that I couldn't pass this one feckin' license thing. It drove me demented. And then I suppose from there into the Xbox 360, Forza. I played all the Forzas the whole way up, even the Horizons. Then finally landed on the Formula One 2016. I just woke up one day. I play like other games as well. Like I used to play like PUBG and Call of Duty, and I used to play a bit of Madden and Battlefield, and the regular games kind of everyone plays. But I woke up one day and I was kind of like, I want to go back into playing a racing game. And I think it was Formula One 2016 because it was really really cheap, and that's that's when I was racing. But then you're racing against AI, and I had this thought one day, and I was like, I wonder if there's groups of people out there that want to race against each other in kind of like a competitive environment where there's rules and stipulations, not just you're jumping into a random lobby and turn one you randomly get plowed from 10 rows back by some idiot who just doesn't know how to use a brake pedal. And found out there was this thing about leagues, and then joined a league, I think, in August 2018. I know that because my son was born at the time, my youngest, Aiden. And I remember playing like my first or second league game with a controller because I didn't have a pad or I didn't have like a steering wheel at the time. So I just had the pad, and he'd be sitting on my knees. as a baby and just doing a race on the gamepad. And the guys I was racing with, they were all like on the wheel and stuff, and they were saying how good the wheel is, and I was like, oh great, yeah, sure, I'll go buy a wheel. But like, to someone who doesn't really know anything about racing and on I suppose on games, it's all expensive equipment. Like, you can't just go in and spend €100 and come out with all the equipment type of thing. So like everyone else, I suppose, it starts off, and I said, I don't really need that and fancy. I just need a basic wheel. So I think in November of 2018, I drove 2 hours to Galway in the west of Ireland because this fella was selling an old wheel for like €100 on like basically a marketplace type of thing, and he was working in the army, so I had to wait for him to finish his shift, come out to me in the car park, bought the wheel, came home, plugged it in, and I was like, "This is going to be amazing! Can't wait to play it." And
Mm.
I was like, "This feels crap." Put it back in the box. Didn't touch it for another 6 months.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but that was on the F1 game
Right.
back then, like So I suppose the game was probably built for the controller. It wasn't really built for the steering wheel at the time.
I think that's kind of similar. Like I bought a wheel for my PlayStation, and I was like, this isn't fun. I'm playing on like a TV dinner table tray, and it's
Yeah,
just I was like, this is nothing. I don't enjoy this. I'm going back to the controller. And
yeah,
then found out about the whole iRacing thing, but
Well, that and like when you played the NASCAR games, it was like you'd be out there and you're doing good, and then some kid would be coming backwards around the track and
yeah.
just completely demolish you. Like Anthony's turned around coming back with a little grin on his face, you know. But
um so have you ever been to a racetrack?
Uh, not when I was young. Like, I hear these stories about guys going to a racetrack when they're like, kids or whatever. I didn't do any of that. It was a friend of mine brought me to a racetrack years ago, maybe about 2014, 2015, something like that. And we went to Mondello Park to watch some drifting. And that was a bit of eye opener. Like I used to watch the drifting on YouTube and stuff like that, but that was a bit of an eye opener because it doesn't really encapsulate the sound and the environment of drifting. Like if you were to stand the other side of the wall and just listen to cars drifting, it sounds very violent because you have these massively supercharged or V8 cars getting up to speed as fast as they can, going into a 90-degree right-hander, whipping the handbrake, throwing the car sideways. So the tires are screaming at you, and then the engines are just redlining the whole way throughout the corner. It sounds very violent. And then as soon as the driver would lift off the throttle, the accelerator, the I forget the name of it now, but they have this device built in that it keeps the turbo spinning, and it just shoots bang 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 backfire out of the out of the exhausts. So
wow.
between it redlining, the tires screaming, and the pop 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 of the exhaust, it sounds incredibly violent, but it's really cool. I really like drifting because uh, it's you could have like say 40, 50 guys turn up with their cars at Mondello or any drifting event, I suppose, and they go into like a qualifying heats. So they'll all do 2 runs each, and then it'll be based on judges. The judges will give them a score, and the worst scoring driver goes against the top driver. So they're
Oh
now paired
wow.
together. So that's why it's incentive to be a really have a good re-qualifying, and how to get a really good qualifying is basically hit all little hitboxes around on the track, and you get more of a score for a higher speed entry, the angle of your entry, all that type of stuff. Um, then you come into like the top 16, so like the field's immediately halved. So if you're a driver and you've just come in with your amateur car or car that you've done very little work to, maybe you drove 2 3 4 hours to come to the racetrack, you've done 2 runs, sorry, you're out.
Is
Pack up, go home.
Have you heard of Ken Block? Is that kind of what the same thing? Have you seen Ken Block drive?
Yeah. I haven't seen him drive. I've seen him drive on YouTube and stuff like that. I suppose the stuff that he does is more gymkhana. It's more kind of just throwing the car around the yard, around the house, stuff like that. But with drifting, you're going around a designated kind of course. Now it's not going to be like that long. It's only maybe going to be like 5 or 6 turns at the most. But then the really interesting part of the drifting is once you get past the qualifying stage, you now go into like couples or groups of two. So you have a chase car, and then you have a follow car essentially, a chase on the lead, and the lead car obviously takes the lead, and the chaser then has to follow him, and you have to maintain proximity to him in the drifts. So you have two cars entering a turn at 90 mile an hour, both pulling the handbrake and both trying to, like, the front guy is trying to pull away, but obviously trying to pull away sideways from the guy behind him, and the guy behind him is trying to be as close as he can to maintain the proximity.
That's
And
crazy.
it's all about scoring points. So it is. But
Do you,
that was my first experience at a racetrack.
do you go to banger racing now?
No. I've thought about it. There's a track in Tipperary. It's a long way to Tipperary, so it is. But there's a track in Tipperary, and it's kind of an oval race that they do there, banger racing. But banger racing is just like really crappy, shitty old cars that someone's put a roll cage into and just slapped it together with some duct tape and go, all right, let's go racing. And they just smash the living shit. Like they don't expect to bring the car home, you know?
So that's what we call here in the States enduros.
Is that kind of what you're wanting to do, Anthony?
Yeah, so that's the plan next year. I'll have a four-cylinder enduro car, and then I'll have a cruiser. I'm hoping it's going to be a like a Grand Marquis, like a cop car, a cruiser. It'll be the cruiser division, and then the four-cylinder junkyard dog enduro car. That's
I
going
hope
to
you
be
have
the
good health
plan.
insurance.
I have great
He's a
health
Garland.
insurance.
He'll be all right. He's a
I
Garland.
have
He'll be all
great
right.
health insurance. Um, so what track would you most like to go to?
Talladega.
Talladega. That, from what I hear, is a party. I've never been there, but I definitely want to put that on the bucket list.
Yeah,
Sweet home Alabama.
it's only about 2.5 hours for me. It's not very far.
But that's
It's
not a
just a
one-day
series.
trip. That's like you're partying the whole
Oh
weekend.
yeah, you got to party
Yeah,
the weekend. You got to enjoy the experience.
yeah.
Like I don't know how it racing is over there, but like over here, it's fun to go to a race. But if you experience the camping part of it and enjoy like being around people that love the same kind of thing that you do,
Yeah.
it that's what makes the racing experience fun. Like Anthony came down earlier this year, came to Atlanta. We camped at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Like that's where the experience is. Going to all the different, the trucks, the Xfinity, the Cup cars, sitting around a campfire. That's what makes it fun. Do they camp over there for that stuff? Yeah, like the drifting and stuff.
Not for the drifting. Drifting is kind of a 1 day thing. Like the drifting, if you're really into it, you could be there at 9 a.m. in the morning, and they have practice on to about maybe 10 or 11. Then qualifying starts around 12 o'clock. By 4 or 5, the whole thing is over. You have your winner.
Oh
So
wow.
it's only a 1 day thing. Like I suppose over here for camping wise, the Formula One type of stuff would probably be more like that. Again, I would equate the trucks in NASCAR to Formula 3, and then the Xfinity series would be like F2, Formula 2 in Europe, and then you have obviously F1. Then it's the Cup Series equivalent then in America, like for that type of thing. So that would be a weekend long affair. If you're talking about a European track, I'd love to go to. I was already at it this year, but I'd love to actually go see a race rather than just go walk around the track. Spa Francorchamps in Belgium. I'd love to go see a race there. I already picked out my seat where I want to sit because I was walking on the track and I was like, where would be a good spot to actually sit and like watch the race. So yeah, the main grandstand just up from at Radian, not a Rouge, Radian. That's where I'd like to be. But again, like if you're there for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because Friday is the main practice. You'll have the F3 race, you'll have the F2 race then on Saturday, and then the F1 race then will be on Sunday.
Oh,
So
wow.
that would be the camping experience, I suppose, for the Europe.
That's what makes it fun. So I have a kind of like a random question. I'm just kind
Mm,
of curious. We're talking about all this driving. Do y'all drive on the right side of the road or the left side of the road? Do y'all
we in
drive
our
like we drive over here?
no, I wish we did though. In fairness,
They drive on the
uh,
wrong side of the road.
yeah,
So
we drive.
is your if you get in your car, is the steering wheel on the right side? Like would be our passenger side and then the left side
Yeah,
would be
so if
the
yeah, so I drive a Volkswagen Passat. It's just downstairs, and if I get into it, I'm getting in on the right hand side, and
that's
that's it.
crazy.
I'm not changing my gears with my left hand.
So
Which
that
is funny because when we get into the sim, I'm sitting in VR in the sim, and I'm the other side of it. You know, I had to get used to that when I
I
first.
was curious. So when you come over to the states
Yeah,
and you get in a car, is that confusing?
no, because I probably played so much GTA when I was growing up, I've gotten used to it. I'll be honest with you, because when I was in the Netherlands and I was in Belgium this year, they drive the same as you guys. They drive on the right hand side of the road, so it's easy. I just got used to it. And they all drive automatics as well. But I wasn't
Okay,
joking when I said played GTA because that's everyone played GTA growing up, but you're all driving on the right hand side of the road for that.
it's true.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like I feel like I would get so screwed up if I came over there and had to drive on the opposite side.
I
And the,
I would not be comfortable putting my passenger on the side of oncoming traffic.
well, they wouldn't be.
No, it's the opposite. You just flip it.
The stern wheel is in the right side. But like for us, like your Camaro, the stern wheel's on the left side. But over there, your stern would be
Oh,
on the right
right,
side.
right. No, I get it now. I'm thinking, yeah, you're right. I don't know.
But the amount of not just Americans, but say like Germans or people that come over and have accents over here is crazy. We have so many signs coming out of the airport. We drive on the left hand side here. Basically, there's so many signs up and on the motorway.
Would we get a ticket if we rode on the wrong side? If we're out of state?
If you were in Ireland, you're driving on the wrong side of the road, you would probably get the car pulled off you. Yeah.
They're gonna impound it.
I- Yeah, like the Irish cops though are very lenient, let's just say. Very, very lenient. You know.
So, so you've got your I call it road racing over there because it's not
Yeah,
oval,
it's not
right?
oval. Yeah, yeah, of course.
Um, who is your hero, your favorite racing driver, and have you met any of the drivers?
For road racing over here,
Any drivers at all?
um, well, if you're talking about Ireland, you have to mention James Dean. Like James Dean is for drifting anyway. Alone is phenomenal. Like he's a four-time Formula D champion. Oh, there he is.
Really?
Yeah, so he won it in 2018, 19, 20, and then he came back and won it again in 2024. So anytime he's gone over to actually compete, he's actually just won it. His nickname is called James the Machine Dean because when he does his drifting, it's essentially the same thing over and over. He doesn't make a mistake. He's like a robot. He's just a pure machine. And he wasn't actually on the picture on the right. That was in Dublin that day, and he just come up just to watch the drifting that was on that day.
It
I
looks
just,
like he came up to, you know, get your autograph.
well, I pretty much went up just to shake his hand and get a picture of him real quick, because I just saw him there. Like he wasn't actually drifting on the day. But the funny thing is, the Irish drifting is a lot of the Japanese and some of the American drifters will come over to Ireland because we have such a drifting culture here, and like obviously James Dean is the king of drifting. That they want to beat the Irish on Irish soil,
Oh
and
wow.
they want to go
Well,
home with that kind of trophy,
we've got breakfast sandwiches named after him over here.
I was gonna say, ain't that a like a cowboy or like one of the old westerns, a James Dean movie?
He used to be an actor. Actually, that's where he got his number from apparently, because he races where he drifts the number 130, and apparently that's the number that James Dean's car had on it when he crashed and died. Apparently, I don't know. I think it's only myth, but apparently that's why he runs the number 130. But his dad used to be a rally driver down in Cork, so it was in his blood from a very, very young age to be throwing a car sideways. That's kind of like why I like the drift oval stuff or the dirt oval stuff. The car is constantly sideways. You're catching it. I love putting the car sideways.
I like it too. I like dirt oval.
Brom, you and me at Bristol Dirt in the trucks a couple of 2 or 3 years ago.
That was awesome.
Dude, I'll never forget that. I have a gif of that on my profile on Discord whenever I get Nitro. And like I remember that race. So it was only for maybe 2 or 3 laps,
Yep.
and you and me were within a foot of each other
We
every
were
corner.
we were trying to simulate the drift culture you was talking about, where we was trying to get real close without touching.
But I remember saying to you after, like, it felt like your truck was right here. That I felt like coming VR. I feel like I could just reach out and just grab your truck. That's how close you've. I haven't experienced that and like that in VR since. Just someone being so close, but yet so in control of their car.
Uh,
But
good.
no, go ahead, Anthony.
I was just gonna ask. We were talking about the games you had played and whatnot.
Mm.
When did you get into sim racing?
Um, I suppose it was. They call it Simcade, isn't it? It's not really an arcade game, but it's not really a sim game with the F1. Um, we I raced in that. I think was it? It wasn't 2019. It was 2019, late 2018 into early 2019. I raced in that and just fell into a league in the F1. And when I was racing in that, I got into a really nice group of lads, and they wanted to form their own league. And I was like, cool. And they said, will you come with us and help us make the league? So I did, and we made RSF1. You can check it out. They're online at the minute. Racing Series F1. You can join their Discord, and if you tag founder, I'll pop up. There's what 200 members, I think, at the minute. They've 4 divisions, 5 divisions, something like that. But I left that years ago because I only did it for like a year or two, and I was there doing the F1 game, and I was like, I want more. I want more realism. This isn't it. Like, what really actually happened was in the summer of 2019, I went to see Metallica. This is an interesting story. Went to see Metallica, and a friend of mine was driving me, and the way to Slane Castle, where Metallica were playing, you have to pass Mondello Park. So he said, "Come on, we'll take a little detour." So we took a little detour, drove past Mondello Park, the racetrack, and put the windows down. We listened. There was cars on track. So immediately the car was turned around. We pulled into the racetrack and see what was going on, and we spent the day there just chilling out at the pits, watching the guys taking off tires, putting on tires, making adjustments to their cars. Like you're talking Formula Four, Formula Three, Formula Ford, Formula V, those type of cars, radicals. That was interesting to watch. And then it came about 4 or 5 o'clock, and my friend said to me, "Hey, do you want to go upstairs into the digital motorsports office?" Some of you guys from years ago might remember digitalmotorsports.com was on my car for a long time, and they were an online retailer for sim equipment. So he said, "Yeah, come on upstairs," and went into the office, and they had maybe 12 sim rigs out there, one for rallying, one for dirt stuff, one for whatever Formula One open wheels type of stuff, and one of them was VR. And I tried all of them. I was their guest essentially, and I tried the VR one, and as soon as I put on and went into the first turn, I think it was the Mazda prototype, the 80s prototype in Sebring. I completely lost the car in turn one. But man, I fell in love with VR that day. Absolutely fell in love with VR. And I tried the triples that day as well. Nah, the VR. I kept going straight back to the VR. That's when I took sim racing seriously. That's when I was like, right, I'm going home. I'm going to buy a good PC. I'm going to get a VR headset, and I'm going to go racing on iRacing because it just felt so much more realistic than what I was playing with the F1 game, if that makes
Wow.
sense.
What made you get into oval racing?
That's tricky. When I was, I never knew of oval racing when I was growing up. It just wasn't the thing, I suppose. And then when I was about 16 or 17, I was overseeing my brother in Buffalo, and we're at a pizzeria, and I was facing my friend at the table, and just over her right shoulder, I think it was his right shoulder, there was a TV. You know, like the old TVs, the old square TVs. It was
Yep.
just sitting in the corner, and it looked like a Formula One car. And I was like, oh, I kind of leaned over to have a look at it. But this car was going around and around in a circle, like an oval. And I was like, what the heck is this? And I asked someone next to me. I was like, oh, that's IndyCar. So that was my first introduction to oval racing. And then I remember I was in Buffalo, and I was in some GameStop or something like that, and it was this IndyCar game for the PC, and I was like looking at it, and I was like, yeah, will I get it? Well, I won't get it. And I reckon if I didn't get that game, I probably wouldn't be here where I am now, because when I bought the IndyCar game, I brought it home and played it. I was like, this is amazing. So that's really what started the oval. So then when I got into iRacing, I originally got into iRacing to do the Formula Threes type, the Formula Three type of racing, like the open wheel type of stuff. But then you look over and you see, oh, it's got oval, it's got dirt oval, it's got the rallycross type of stuff. So yeah, you're paying for the product, you're paying for the service. You may as well try all different disciplines while you're here. Like, so I did. I was like, oh my god, this feels amazing. So the Formula Three car was quickly dumped off to the side, and then I went, with the street stocks, and then up to the trucks, Xfinity, and the Cup Series, and that's how I got into that.
Well, you've definitely come a long way, Anthony. You got the list of some of his sim racing achievements that he's had.
Yeah, now I've got a list of them. Are all these on iRacing? Just iRacing?
No, so 2019, another level F4. That was the Division 4 for another level. That was the F1 game. So that was my second season in the league of that F1 game. Because my first season, I didn't know what to do. It was my first introduction to league racing. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know about the rules, the structure, timing, race etiquette. I knew none of it. I had to be taught all of it, and it was really really cool that the system that they had was kind of like a randomized draw. So there's only 20 cars on an F1 track. So because they had like 80 drivers, they had to have four divisions. So you're ranked basically on your speed, but it's a pure randomized draw. So you're okay. They'll say like, okay, next team is for Ferrari, and okay, the first driver for Ferrari is, say, John. Okay, the second driver for Ferrari is Al. So now I'm paired up with John, and the two of us are teammates for the season. A season in F1, you're talking 21, 22 weeks, which is just under 6 months. So that first season was a long season, but it was a long learning curve, and I just practiced and practiced, practiced, and built up my pace, and obviously racecraft, race etiquette. And then second season went out and obliterated everyone and won the F4 championship. So that was my first taste of victory.
And then it looks like you had a lot of success with Joe's Six Pack Racing League. Was it season one Cup car, season two Cup car, and then you also got the 2021 truck season one championship.
Yeah, I think it was you that won the season two trucks.
Yeah, I think I got season two.
Yeah, Joe Sixpack. You guys remember that? You
Yep,
talked about
that's
before.
back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day, that was when I was just getting into iRace, and thankfully, I wasn't a COVID joiner. I joined before COVID, so if anyone looks up my iRacing profile, they will see I joined in November of 2019. So that was before COVID. So I'm happy to say that it's the one one thing I have on my iRacing profile. Everyone's probably thinking, yeah, you just joined because of COVID. No, I joined before that, technically.
It's kind of crazy because I started, I want to say December that year, and I feel like a lot of us met through Joe Six Pack Racing. Uh,
Yeah,
the the good majority of us kind of met each other through that league, which was, I don't remember how many years or around. I don't even know if it was a league before I started. Um, but I remember Anthony. He reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to be his teammate because he felt sorry for me.
poor lost puppy needs a home.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
we started Joe Sixpack. Obviously, it shows 2021, but it started in 2020 with the owner at the time was just throwing up money races, and we
Yeah,
were all joining it. And then we kept joining it, and we were like, we should make something of this, and then everyone collectively came together, and the league was formed. Um, and I think you came in. I think you might have run season one, but you didn't have a team. And when season two came around, we asked you to join our team.
Yeah, the first season I definitely run by myself and was kind of learning the iRacing and everything like that. And then obviously when you get to the being a part of a team, it makes a big difference in the game for sure, or the simulation, excuse me.
Yeah,
And
it was the same for me because it was who was it? It was Twist who messaged me first out of the blue saying, "Hey, you drive Chevy, I drive Chevy, one team up," and I was like, "Yep, sure." And another guy then I think it was McFarlane. He joined too. Then we had I forget his name, Bobby.
What was your team name for Joe Six Pack Racing?
It was Atlantic Racing because it was
That's
well,
right.
obviously the Atlantic was like the middle part of where we all kind of met, like so that's what we started off with, and then Sammy. It was Sammy. Sammy was our fourth member.
Sammy
Sammy Davis.
Davis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sammy did. He was
What
awesome.
what was ours? Was it Wild Aces? Was that what we were, Anthony?
Yes, Wild Aces.
Aces. It's old school racing. Maybe we need to have a throwback race where everybody runs like the first team scheme or
Funny
something
you say
crazy.
that.
Uh oh.
I will be running my scheme from Joe Sixpack and Wild Aces for the Darlington race. So that's going to be fun.
Every Darlington race, I always run my Joe Sixpack season one scheme, but no one cops it.
Now the you have
Yeah,
a Joe Sixpack diecast I sent you, don't you?
yeah,
The first one, yeah.
yeah.
And now your 2022 season 3 diecast is on its way. It's somewhere between here and there right now. Oh, yep. This
There
is
it
just
is. Oh wow.
Still the same black car, but just the white strip down the middle of it. That's the only difference.
Number
I just
tree did it have the leprechaun on it?
yeah, he's there.
Yep.
Yep. There he is. Yep.
That's
Um
crazy.
so the let me get rid of this. So with you racing being from Ireland,
Mm,
the and the racing style over there, that's different than how we race over here. Like
Your
for us,
philosophy is different
yeah,
over there.
for us,
How
yeah,
we
y'all look
like
at it.
we like the beating and banging, like the door rubbing and everything. That's fun, right? But over there with the F1 cars, you do that, you get in trouble, don't you?
yeah. It's heavily frowned upon. Like for an F1 car, or open wheel car, if they go wheel to wheel, it's okay because they kind of just bounce off each other. That's okay. But if the front wheel hits like the front wing or the side pod of another car, you're gonna have a mess. Carbon fibers going everywhere. Tires are being punctured. They don't make contact. Simple as that.
So you can't put a donut on the side of their car?
No, 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 no. You put a donut on that, you're getting a puncture, and they're gonna be missing half their radiator.
Mm.
So is that hard to adjust to when coming into sim racing and iRacing? Like you were racing the Formula cars and now you're oval racing with us,
Yeah,
and like we're just like, oh, that's just a racing deal, and you're like, ah, no, that guy should be like parked.
yeah. Well, when I first got into like league racing, with you guys and Joe Sixpack, it was any bit of contact on me, it was like, oh, ban him. But now I've come to realize, you know, it's just a little bit of banging, like a bit of. To me, door contact is fine. But if you have someone pushing you down the straight that's potentially going to turn you, that's a different story. But excuse me,
Ru-
Robin's racing.
Yep, Robin's racing.
Like, yeah, you have defenders, you might as well use them. You know, my mentality has slightly changed with that, but even to say GT3 racing, like they have fenders too, but like you would never or very rarely see someone do like a bump and run in GT3 racing. It's frowned upon because in Europe, and my philosophy as well is if you have to initiate contact with another car to get past them, you don't deserve that position.
And I kind of think, and I could be completely wrong, but I feel like a GT3 or those kind of cars are a lot more expensive as far as
Half a million each.
repairs. You know, where they're still kind of running like the car, where NASCAR is basically, you know, it's a roll cage and then it's fabricated to have a body on it. So if you smash a side or something like that, it's not as bad as if you get like a BMW out there and you smash it up. It's gonna
Mm,
cost a heck of a lot more money to fix it.
yeah, yeah. No, the GT3 cars are about half a million, but you buy them directly from the manufacturer, and the manufacturer then will support you in racing it. So if you were a rich billionaire's kid and you wanted to have fun on the weekend, you could totally rock up to BMW and say, "Hey, give me a M4 GT3," and they will give
Take
you the spec for it. There it
take
is.
it out for some banger racing.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose you could if you wanted. That's what I saw at Spa over the weekend. It was just, I asked someone like, "What's going on? Is this a track day?" And someone said, "Yeah, it's a track day." But I looked over and like, you've top of the line GT3 cars like all these BMWs, Porsches, and it's just like these are rich kids. That's like at half million euro each for per car. Like not to mention tires and fuel and your team to fit it up and get it running for you. But that's the mentality I have. Like I would like if even if it came to one of our league races, and it's last lap, I would I would hesitate. I probably wouldn't give someone the bump and run on the last corner, last lap, because if I moved them up out of the track or up out of the groove, I should say, and I took the win, it's not really a win though, is it? Because I didn't prove it on track. Now you guys are probably going to disagree with me and say, "Well, it is because you bumped your guy out of the way,"
That
but I
that's
didn't race him.
racing.
Yeah,
We
see, that's
live
that's the philosophy difference there.
we live for the bump and runs. Like that's racing.
Entertainment,
Yep.
entertainment.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
So when did
So,
go ahead.
when did you get into like the NASCAR series? Was you already into iRacing, or did you watch like NASCAR, like Dale Earnhardt and all them guys before, or kind of after you got into sim racing?
It was before. It was 2014. It was the year Harvick won his championship. Was the year I started, and I just started watching it randomly. Like I didn't intently go out going, yeah, I'm going to watch NASCAR this season. I just started watching it, and then on my lunch breaks in work, I would just have it on my phone, and I would use these illegal websites to get the stream. There was this great guy. He slows down. His website's gone, but he used to have the stream up pretty much 24 hours after the race had been on, so I would obviously be ruined with the result on Twitter or whatever, like, because I was trying to keep up with the stats and, points and stuff like that. But that's how I would watch the race. So 2014 onwards, I probably been watching. I'll probably watch less of it now. Um, but yeah, back 2014, 2015, 2016, kind of like towards the end of like Jeff Gordon's career, I thought that like towards the end of the Gen 6 car, basically, I thought was for me the best part of NASCAR. It looked like real racing, to be honest.
So I heard you say Kevin Harvick is that your favorite driver, or is you got another guy that the Intimidator, or
So yeah,
No, see, go on.
I find it funny that he says 2014, 2015, 2016 when he's driving such an iconic number 3
three?
and he has been gone since 2001. I know you're not driving the 3 because of Austin Dillon. Let's be real.
No, 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 I'm not. Do you really want to know why I'm running number three?
Yeah.
Because
It's
you
just a
like
lucky
to
number
say
for me. It's just my lucky number. If I wasn't running three, I'd run 12. If I wasn't running 12, I'd run 16.
12's my favorite number. That's the only reason I run it.
It's the 16th is my birthday. I love the number 12, um, because it's a good common denominator. That call me a bit weird for thinking like that, but that's the way I think. To me, three is a lucky number. Should look at the draw we did the other night for the competition. I was like, okay, I'll take number three. It
yeah.
wins.
Yeah.
It's my lucky number three. I just like the number. Um, I didn't watch NASCAR when Dale Senior was around. I never knew him. I just watched a documentary on him. And go, that's pretty cool. Respect. Not my style of racing. It is what it is. But um, to me, a number is a number. It doesn't really mean anything significant. It doesn't mean I'm a big, massive Dale Earnhardt fan or anything like that. My favorite driver in the F1 drives number three, so that had an impact on it as well. But I found out afterwards the reason why he drives the number three is because of Dale Earnhardt Senior. So that's kind of
So,
weird
so,
how it came out like that.
so I don't know if you're going to be disappointed or not, but in that package that I sent you, there's quite a few number three cars in there that are Dell Senior.
That's okay. That's fine.
But no, it's
That's fine.
because you run like similar color scheme to what Earnhardt ran. He did have the red trim for the Goodwrench car, white letters. So there's a lot of similarities between your scheme and what he ran.
I just love a black car. Like even my car downstairs, minute black. Car before that, black. Car before that, black. It was like I remember I was looking for a new car years ago, and my friends were saying, "Hey, would you be interested in this car? Be interested in that car?" No, it has to be black.
Yeah,
It
my,
must
I
be black.
like I like the black vehicles. They're super nice when they're clean, but man, are they hard to keep clean.
yeah.
Yeah,
Or you get swirl marks in it.
So I'm the same way with my
yeah.
vehicles though, but mine are not black. I've got an orange Wrangler and I've got an orange Camaro sitting in my yard.
So I guess now, Anthony, if you would, could you pull up a picture of Al's first rig versus what Al's rig is now? And Al, could you kind of explain your first rig? And I guess this is where it's all started. And what made you decide to upgrade to the next one?
So yeah, the one on the left there, that's a
Mm.
PlayStation Challenge, I think it is, or no, PlayStation Challenge. Sorry, it's a PlayStation Challenge. It's basically a collapsible seat. It's like a deck chair or something like that, and you screw on the base with the wheel, and the pedals there are actually they're strapped on, would you believe? And
Yep.
that was my first setup. That's
Now,
and
is
that's
that the rig that you got the championships in Joe Six Pack
yeah,
with that rig? Okay.
yeah, yeah. That's how I started off with that. Um, and then that was I was actually racing. If you can imagine, that's what I mean. Like you have like a kitchen and a dining room, but they're kind of like in the same room, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So that's my dining room. So right behind where that chair is essentially the dining room table and chairs. And my wife did not like me racing downstairs in the kitchen, at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and she was like, you got your office upstairs. Why don't you bring it upstairs? And I got a new job around 2020, and she said to me one night, "What would it take for you to go upstairs?" And I turned around to her all jokingly, like, "Yeah, take a SimLabs PX1." Like the price, I think, is fucking expensive. Pardon my French, but I was I was messing with her, I was joking, and 2 weeks later, that was sitting like obviously all in boxes, but it was sitting in my hallway, and I was like, Christ, she actually did it. So I had to move upstairs. Then I wasn't racing downstairs; I was racing upstairs.
Aw,
So
shucks.
oh shucks, yeah. God damn it!
Is
Can't be racing
that
downstairs.
is that seat leaned back that far? The one on the right, or is it? I'm just looking at it
The one on the
weird.
right, yeah, the new one, yeah. Well, the one I'm racing at the minute, that's what I'm sitting in at the minute, and that's the way I have it configured. I probably could, configure it to race a bit more like this, but I kind of like again the Formula One style. If you ever see a Formula One driver sitting in the car,
They're like laying down.
they're like laying down, and I suppose that's the style I kind of like or kind of started racing with.
So this is the $1 million question that somebody might ask. Where's the monitor?
There is no monitor. It's here.
Yep,
That's it.
VR.
Ooh.
That's it. I have three monitors in here in the room, but like one is for like watching TV or a podcast. The other one's for maybe playing games or doing something on the main screen, and the other one then could just be like to have Discord or something like that open. But they're not like triples as in like we would use for iRacing. They're kind of stretched out all over the place, dotted around the place for just for different things. So yeah, there is monitors in the room, but when I'm racing, it's VR only.
So what do you do when you got to pee during race?
I gotta pee before the race, and if
Do
I'm
you pee in
drinking,
the seat like NASCAR drivers?
no, I haven't got to that point yet. Maybe in the future, like I'm hitting 40 nearly, like so not yet.
You gotta really get into it, right? So
Does
Yeah,
I
it
like
does the VR steam up in your face?
when I first put it on, yes. So I have to put it on maybe 5, 10 minutes later. I gotta take it off, kind of rub it with the inside of my t-shirt, put it back on, then we're good to go. But there is a new attachment I can get on the top of this, and it has like two
a
little
f-
fans, and
yep.
it'll blow in like cool air, trying to keep it cool. So that'll probably be my next investment. But like
So
my the base I have here, like the wheel and base I have here, is the exact same from the picture on the left.
That was the
So
other question I was going to ask if it was the same thing. What kind of steering wheel is it?
it's an open wheel Trustmaster, and then it's a TX base, which is I don't know.
Is that belt driven or gear driven?
Yeah, no, it's belt driven, but like it's like one of the cheapest ones you can get. Again, this is from Joe Sixpack days.
Is it loud?
Do you know the only time it gets loud is when I'm doing dirt oval because I'm constantly doing this in it.
Yeah.
Trying to catch the car, and that's the only time it really does get loud. But actually, I took this apart and I replaced the fan in it because the bearing in the fan wore out just over time. But like I know most of the guys in the league now are running direct drives, and I remember I was in a conversation one time, and Adolfo asked me, he was like, "Al, what type of wheel do you use?" And I told him like a TX, and he was like, "It's not like a TX 180 or something like that. It's like the bottom of the bottom, like when it comes to wheels." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "All right, cool." Because most of the guys, obviously driving direct drives now, and for me, it's kind of like a measurement of dick size. So it is. It's like, how many newton meters can you run?
That's
And
right. And how many newton
uh,
meters?
yeah, I'm only running like 3.9 or something here at the minute, so I can't keep up with you guys. So I know when you guys, do a bump or hit a curb or something like that, you guys can feel it on the direct drive. I'm just kind of like, yeah, just driving along.
Did I hit something?
Yeah.
Oh, keep going.
so Al, what brought you from Joe Sixpack to the Outcast Racing League?
Well, Joe Sixpack imploded. Greg basically deleted the Discord, and then Rob Lowell, you won't mind me saying his name. He kind of formed his own league. That was the 802 league from that, the remnants of Joe Sixpack. I know you went off to create Outcast, and basically it was like half the league went with you, and the other half league stayed, and I happened to be with half the league that stayed, just to see what would happen because I didn't know what was going to happen, and it got very toxic. And there's nothing will destroy a league faster than egos. And I'm not just saying that from the 802, with those guys. I'm saying it from my Formula One game days, you know, in 2018, 2019, watching that league kind of implode and then going off and forming a new league with the guys I was racing at the time. Egos is the number one killer because if you have someone that is just so egotistical and then you have another person that's like that, they're just going to butt heads, and it doesn't end well. Like we're all like we pretend we're race car drivers, but we're not. We're playing a game. We're pretending that we're racing, right?
It's a
Essentially,
simulation.
it's a simulation. Yeah, you can say that, right? But Sammy, who I was racing with years ago, he said to me, you know, when he was racing back in the 80s, he used to do dirt stuff, that he would have to win a race to get the $500 jackpot or win or whatever it was to put tires in his car or put a new engine in his car to make the next race. So, and he would say to me, I have to move guys. I'd have to do it because I have to get the win so I can get to the next race. But with us in sim racing, we don't have that. There's always next race, and it's just for egos to pop up like that and be like, "Yeah, I'm just going to wreck you because I want to wreck you." No part. It's not respectful. And respect is always a two-way street, the way I see it. Respect is earned and given. So there is no need to be on a simulator, bumping and banging guys intentionally. And I say that the word intentionally, to get the win, because you don't need the win. It's not the championship race. We're not there
Right.
yet.
So I have a really fun question to ask. Is it true that you have a lifetime ban from another league?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's from the 802 league, actually, the league that Rob was running. So yeah, when I got my lifetime ban, that's when I came crawling to Anthony, going, Anthony,
What
will you
was
let
the
me in your
ban
league?
for?
It was for a couple of things. So I was streaming at the time, and there was a guy in front of us, and his name was Dingler or something like that. And we kept calling him the Dangler, like his balls dangling everywhere type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, And I guess he didn't really like that because obviously he must have played back my stream. And I'm not going to mention names, but there was another ESR driver there as well, and he was caught on the stream saying, "I'm going to wreck him! I'm going to wreck him!" And he went and he wrecked him. And there was another incident in the race as well. It was Miami, turn one, and I washed up. I completely washed up the track, completely by accident, and I hit this Dengler guy, whatever his name was, and they took that as intentional. But the race before that, I think I came third in Dover, and they had me up for the interview, and I was just having the fun with the commentators because, to me, like, if you're going to take it seriously, I'm just going to take the piss out of you. And when I say take the piss out, I'm just going to poke fun at you essentially. But they were asking about the balance of the car and how did you find it and stuff like this, and I was like, yeah, Jason, the car was grand, like just how was your smoking, like, and stuff. Like, I was completely playing it up, like, but at the end of it I said, lads, will you join me in saying a big massive poke home to everyone out there? Now it's on my TikTok, so you can go watch, because I've clip recorded. It's on my TikTok, you can watch it. And poke is basically kiss my arse in Irish. So I
Yeah,
told,
that's that word I was asking you about earlier,
yeah.
Pokemon.
So I basically told them and told everyone that there was listening to them to kiss my arse. But another thing I kind of got banned for, going back to the Miami race, was these guys apparently were broadcasting apparently on iRacing's Twitch page or iRacing's main iRacing.com page, and they had certain strict rules on paints. And I had on my South Park paint, and there's an episode of South Park where Stuart wears no pants. No, it's not. It's Butters. Sorry, it's Butters. He wears no pants. He just stands like this. And he takes down his pants and shows off his little ding along. So he does. And I had that. I had that on the side of my car because I thought it's an epic episode, and that pose is epic. Like, but the wiener is only like 4 pixels by 4 pixels. Like, unless you had a magnifying glass, you wouldn't see it.
Life-size replica. What? Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead.
for me it is, yeah. So the organizers, they obviously saw this inside the car. They reported me to the league. They reported me to iRacing. They reported me to Trading Paints. And only recently, 2 years later, has my ban been lifted on Trading Paints, so I can actually publish paints to the public on Trading Paints.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah, after the Miami race, between the 4 pixel by 4 pixel, like, I actually have a screenshot of it somewhere. I'll put up in the general chat in Discord in a bit. But yeah, it's a 4 pixel by 4 pixel wiener, and he says because of that, I remember saying to Rob before, I said, you do what you gotta do. If you think I'm gonna sit out a few races, no problem. It is what it is. I'm happy, like, no problem. And he came back to me and says, no, you're getting a lifetime ban. And I was
Wow.
like, it is what it is. And that's when I came crawling back to Anthony. And then maybe 6 months or a year later, Rob got back in touch with me, and he says, I know you're Al, you're a stickler for rules. And I was like, yeah. And he says, we have this driver. He's looking to do a protest some of his penalties. He says, will you sit on the panel and listen to his concerns and make a judgment? And I politely said to him, I said, Rob, I think that's a bit hypocritical considering I have a lifetime ban from your league. Thank you, good luck, and goodbye.
Dang. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah. So what makes the Outcast League different than others for you? I know you said egos, but like Joe Sixpack went what 5 seasons maybe,
Yeah, maybe 4 or 5
and
seasons. Yeah,
now we're going strong in our eighth, and I don't see it slowing down. It only seems to be getting better and better as we go. So, what do you think the difference is there?
I think it's the community, but I think a bigger aspect of it is accountability. You have guys that when they cause a crash or a wreck, they're the first one to put up their hands and say, "Yeah, I caused that. Shit, I'm sorry. I'll do better next time." Do you know? Other leagues you don't have that. Other leagues you have egos, where a guy will cause a wreck and he'll go, "Do you know what? Screw you. You shouldn't have been there. F you." All this type of stuff. But to me, that's the same as public racing in the official lobbies, and that's why I race in leagues like Outcast, because I don't want that toxicity in a league. So that's the way I see it. I don't want toxicity like that in a league. It's everyone has to be held accountable to their actions and to their driving standards. And people have different driving styles. You could be racing a guy and you know exactly the move he's going to make. There's drivers in this league I can go side by side with. I can go three wide with no problem. But there's other drivers you're kind of looking at them and going, yeah, I might make a move on the next turn, not this one. But going back to the question, I say community, but there's a strong accountability
Yeah,
in the league. Which I think is very very big. You don't want the big egos coming out saying screw you, screw this, screw that. What does it lead to? Do you know if you have someone that's escalating, like say an argument, if you have an argument with anyone and they escalate it or they start firing attacks at you, what's the first thing you're gonna do? You're going defensive. Next thing it goes up and up and up and up and up. Where does it end? Do you know
Right.
it? Someone has to be the first one to say, "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have made that move, but I did. It was a bonehead move. I'm sorry." Do you know?
yeah. That and I I feel like in Outcast this goes beyond just racing too. I feel like everyone in
Yeah,
here's like created a brotherhood between you know all of us. Like we don't turn anyone away, and we welcome everyone and treat everyone the same.
yeah. No, there's definitely a brotherhood, a comradeship, I suppose, if you want to think about it like that. Like and there's I'll race different people differently because of their driving standards as well, their driving styles. Not everyone, like you don't have to race bumper to bumper, inches apart on lap 10. You can if you want, but you're going to get a name for yourself. And that's the great thing about iRacing. That's what I love about iRacing is your name is who you are. It's
Right.
on the Xbox or PlayStation, you could be a complete asshole and drive like an asshole, and then a month later you could change your name, change your gamer tag. In iRacing, you can't really do that. You're like I could change my name to Al Reid tomorrow because officially it's down as Albert, but the name still means something. So if I was even to jump into a public race, my my reputation is attached to my name, and the last thing I would want is someone said to me years ago. They said like wins will come and go. No one will remember how many wins you got, but everyone will remember if you're the guy going and wrecking everyone.
That's right. That's very true.
Yep, I do agree.
So, so with Outcast, I mean, everybody kind of knows one of our big things is the team nature part of it, and everybody's fighting for a team championship versus the regular season points, and then the actual championship. Um, you're part of ESR. Um, what does that stand for, and how did that come about?
ESR Elite Sim Racing. Um, it came about because basically Atlantic. It came down to myself and Rob. I think at the end of it, and yeah, because Sammy had left. McFarlane, he got kicked out of the league because he went on a tirade against Greg. I remember at the time, so he was forcibly removed from the league. So we're down to two members in our team, and it was Mike Killenbeck and Dave Lomaga. They were racing on another team, so we said, "Hey, guys, do you want to form up?" Kind of form like a super team, I guess, at the time, and that's what we did. We formed Elite Sim Racing, and the font and the logo. Well, there's not really much for logo, but I suppose to me the font is the logo of the team, and I spent so much time trying to get the right font for what I thought it should mean, like, because I know a lot of teams they have like, whatever, motorsports, but this isn't motorsports, this is sim racing. So that's why I called it Elite Sim Racing. And, someone might say to me, why'd you call it Elite? Because I want to be better than everyone else. So that's why I
That's
called it
right.
Elite.
So
So
There's
go
a
ahead.
certain mentality that comes with an ESR driver. I perceive that we have, like, it's respect. That that when an ESR car pulls up behind you, they're not going to dump you. They're not going to wreck you. They're going to race you, but they're going to race you hard.
Right.
so how do you think ESR is doing currently in ORL?
Well, statistically, I think we're is second, I think, at the minute in the team championship points. I'm not really sure. I know before Gateway we were first. We just took it off you guys. Thanks for that, by the way.
Y'all are. I
Um,
Well,
think y'all are still ahead.
you
yeah.
guys passed us because you had like who's on your team? You got four guys who are decent at road courses going into a road course race against four guys that are terrible at road course
I
races.
have to think up for Cam on this one. All right. So ESR is made up of four drivers. You got myself, Rob Turiscu, you got Kurt Sponsor, and Cam. Right. Out of the four of us, three of us would only call ourselves road racers. Cam was the only one that would not call himself road racer because Cam didn't really do road racing until he came into ESR. Like ESR has another aspect to it. It's endurance racing, and because he was on the ESR Oval team, we said to him, "Hey, do you want to join the endurance team?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." And that's how he got into road racing. So I disagree with your statement saying that there's four road racing guys. I think Cam has made a name for himself as a road racer, a very good road racer at that, and better than me. And I've no problem saying that because we'll learn off each other.
But that's how you guys got ahead of us at Indy, and then after Sunday's race, I've done the points,
Hmm.
and you had an 19-point lead on us going into Sunday, and I think it shrunk a little bit.
Yeah, I thought it would because I know you guys got a little bit higher than where a couple of us finished. But ESR at the minute, pretty good considering we got the team championship last season. I'd love to go back to back with team championships. I'd love to be the first team in ORL to have that trophy. The problem, and I said this to Johnny. Johnny was part of the ESR team last year or last season, I should say. And I said to Johnny one night, I said it's always going to be a bit of a stain, the team championship that we won last season, because the Swedes were removed obviously from the league, but they would have won it. You know what I mean? So I felt like although we won it, we didn't earn it. So that's why I want to go back and earn it, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense for
Yes,
sure.
sir.
So I'd love to go back to back. Like, I have the World Driver Championship from season three. I'd love for Cam, Kurt, or Rob to win it this season. Everyone has a fighting chance to come the championship race at Daytona. I'd love it for ESR to be able to say, yeah, we've got two championship winning drivers on the team, and we're back to back champions in on the team. I think ESR is the longest serving team I think we have in ORL, because other teams seem to kind of fade away and maybe we come back as a new name or something like that. I don't know, but ESR I want to keep around for years to come. But it you have to be a certain type of caliber of person to be on the team.
Um, so what's the plan for the future? Do you guys plan on doing um, more endurance racing in ESR or expanding to other leagues?
Expanding to other leagues, probably not. I think ORL is our home. The oval team is kind of set where we are with the four of us, but the endurance team, I would like to expand that. I would like to take on these special events as ESR. So I would, being honest with you. Um, so those special events, if you get a top three in them, you get a little certificate. Like the certificate you get whenever you win your first oval race.
Yeah.
That, yeah, you kind of get something like that for the special events. And I got, was a second or third, I think, in the Nuremberg Ring 24-hour race 2 years ago, I think it was, and I've been chasing it ever since. And that's the one race on my calendar for ESR that I want us to win as a team. Um, every other special event like the Daytona 24 Sebring, I just see it all as practice. That's all I see it as. I don't care if we crash or win or lose or whatever. But for me, Nuremberg is the one I want to win. So yeah, I'm
Yes.
looking to expand the endurance team.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I did mention something yesterday in Discord. Is it too early to start talking about the 24-hour Daytona race? Because there was a lot of us that did it last year.
Yeah.
I think we had what, three separate teams that did it.
For Daytona 24, no, you're thinking of the Freaky Fast one that we did for the.
Yeah, the 24 was just it was like 10 of us on the same team or something
It
like
was it
that.
was 12, dude. It was 12 of us.
12 of
I
us.
don't know what. It was crazy amount. But like, if we broke that down to two teams, that's two solid teams there of six drivers each.
Yeah. So I don't. I know we've got more people in the league now. Maybe more people willing to do that, but that's 2.5 months away, maybe.
Yeah.
January. Yeah.
So, with talking about Florida and Daytona, um, big things are going to be happening in February, and a bunch of guys are going to be getting together for the 500. And you are coming across the pond. What are you most like? What are you looking forward to the most about coming over here, hanging out with a lot of the guys that you race with, that you see on camera and everything else, chit chat with every week? Um, what are you most excited about?
Can I be honest with you guys?
Absolutely.
I want to go shoot some guns.
Hey,
Uh, go on.
it, I'm sure it could probably happen.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'd like to shoot some guns if we can, but like I suppose it's a they always say like don't meet people you meet off the internet, or be careful of strangers you meet off the internet. I'm like, yeah, I've been racing with these guys for like 4+ years. It's okay. I know them pretty
You've
good.
have you ever met Tuisku? But y'all been racing together forever.
Never. Sure, Twisco's in Michigan, and
So now you're gonna get to meet him. That he's been on your team for some time.
yeah, yeah. Like Twisko's like a brother to me. Like we just think and act the same. He'll say something, and I'm kind of like, dude, are you sure that's the right idea?" type of thing. Like we're like brothers nearly. Like the way we go on. So, um, looking forward to meeting him. Looking forward to meeting all the guys, like you guys as well. Like just, it's probably going to be a bit overwhelming at the start. Like even to meet Wayne and James and all those guys as well. Muse, it's going to be crazy. But
What
I'm
happens in Florida stays in Florida.
That's not. You know, there's gonna be stories and everything that don't stay in Florida. They're going to Ireland. They're going to New England. They're going everywhere.
yeah, just looking forward to meeting you guys in person and having a drink and sitting down and just talking shit and watching race and just hanging out with you guys, because like as we're talking about before, like ORL is a great community. Like, but like we have the same interests. We all love sim racing. We all love going wheel to wheel, door to door, and like that, we have some great races. We have some bad races too, but it'd be so cool to meet up and say, "Hey, remember that one time I bumped you into that corner or whatever?" I just think that'd be so much fun. Like.
I think it's gonna be a blast, and then just all the camaraderie and the just everything that is probably going to happen. It's going to be so much fun. So many guys together. Hopefully, everybody can get out and play some putt putt or some
Yeah.
ride some go karts or it's gonna be a wild experience. Probably, I mean, obviously the best yet. I mean, Anthony has been going longer than I have, but I've been going. There's been a few of us going for a few years now, and always
This
a good time.
this is only like 16 or 17 years in a row only.
Yeah, I
Wow.
think it's like my fourth or fifth.
Do you
I
guys
don't
like get bored of it? No.
know.
Never.
Dude, it's a
Honestly,
blast.
you ask if I ever get bored of the racing.
Yeah.
No, no. So I've been to like 70 plus New Hampshire NASCAR races. And I've been to all these Daytona races, and I'm going deaf in my left ear. And I blame it on all the races that I go to because the cars come from the left side, right? So that's what
Uh
I
huh.
blame that on. And I will never get tired of racing at all. Like I was saying earlier, my plan is to start racing at the local track this coming year. That
He's going
uh,
in the banger
I
series.
I was
Woo.
damn near born at a racetrack. My mother's water broke at the track that I'm going to race at next year.
That's great. That's a great
One
story to have.
one thing I'll tell you though, Al, that a lot of times, like when I used to just go watch the race and go to Martinsville or whatever, and you're watching, it's a blast. But the first race that I went with Anthony, he had an extra headset to be able to listen to an actual driver, and that made a world of difference to watching the race. Listening to the spotters and the crew chief and talking about weighing fuel and the driver telling them what the car's doing and what changes they're going to make to the car and being able to watch it live in person, it's like a whole different environment of watching NASCAR. Like I
How does
don't
that
even
work then? Do you, like how much is the headset and like do they come around to tell you like with a little scorecard like what frequency they're tuning the headset into?
so you can buy a headset and it's kind of expensive, but it's like 300 and some dollars, and it comes pre-programmed every season. Like the one that I got and Anthony got, you just walk up to the trailer and you can hit a button to program them, and it puts all the drivers in there, any driver you want. And then when you get out there, you click the series like NASCAR, Xfinity, or whatever, and then
Hmm.
you go to your driver and you're listening to that live, what they're saying.
Wow.
And to listen to them talking about how the car handles and the adjustment, like we're gonna take two turns out of the left rear, we're gonna add 2 pounds to the front. We weighed the fuel. You only got this much laps left. We're gonna have to pit. We're not gonna make it.
Now,
You,
I've got a second one, and and you can use it when we go down there. You'll see what it's about.
it's
Really? Oh, class.
because
Thanks, dude.
it's loud already, so it's like wearing hearing protection, but you get to listen to everything going on. You listen to the driver talking to his team before they start the race and thanking them for everything they do and talking about this. You get to hear them coming into pit road and they're like, five yellow lights. All right, four red lights.
Being at
And
Daytona too, it's like the spotter constantly calling out bumper. Or you got
Oh, that's awesome.
quarter car length, half length, closing fast, like inside, like they're it never shuts up ever.
like, I don't know that I could go. I don't know that I would have fun going to a race without having a headset now.
Wow. You have to be immersed in the experience.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite driver is Cal Bush. So I put it on Cal Bush and I hear everything. So when he's having issues, I know about it. And then I can hear what's going on, what he's feeling in the car. It's almost like you're in the car,
You hear him
you
cussing.
know?
Yep.
He's like,
Yeah, they don't
he'll,
edit that. You can't edit it. It's live.
yeah. And they're out there and then like, on the, where they're drafting and the plate tracks, and the car's up there in the first, and you'll hear the spotters like, The high line's got two cars. You got two more coming up. The bottom line's got two. You need to get up high and block high, and then like they're telling that they're basically driving the car for the guy driving.
Do
It's I can't even explain it.
you want to know? I can't tell you how much of a schoolgirl I was when I've got these headphones on, listening to Hamlin and his spotter and his crew chief. I've been in Daytona for all three of Denny Hamlin's Daytona 500 wins, and the radio was just crazy. I've got a
And hit
video. I've got a
and
video
all
of Dad and I jumping in the stands like schoolgirls because Hamlin won the 500. Like, can you
and
picture
all
Wayne
those
just like, "Ah!" like
and all those Anthony has his name on the bathroom wall while he was listening to him talk in there. That's all we're gonna say with that. But yeah, like you have to. But for people that don't have them, you can also rent it for like a lot cheaper. It's
they
probably like
sell out pretty quickly at the racetrack though,
it's
so
like $50 to rent it for the race.
Okay.
I'll
Um,
look around on
Racing Electronics, I think's what it's called, and like you can actually go on there and order it now for the race. I don't know if that's something that we might should mention to everybody going to the track, but it's a whole different experience having it. Like you'll see, like you'll pick whoever you want to be your favorite driver for that race, um, and you'll be mind blown.
yeah, you could also I found some of my stuff on Facebook Marketplace. They sell them on Facebook Marketplace too, so definitely check those out. Check it out
It's the
there. And
same products they use in the race cars. It's just the headsets that they rent out. You can't talk back, but it's live.
they
Whereas their headsets allow them to talk.
they do have some of them that you can talk back and forth to the person sitting beside you. They do have
Wow,
stuff
that's
like
pretty
that,
cool.
but like you have to hit a button to talk to the person because it's so loud you can't hear anything. Like you and I sitting next to each other, until the cars go past and there's nothing there, you can't hear me talking to you.
And would you have to wear like ear protection at the race?
You don't
You don't
have
have
to.
to, but if you want to hear after, you probably will.
Your ears will be ringing.
But the cars will go by you, and then it might be 45 seconds before they come back around, or however long a lap is.
So it's 45 seconds of going, what? What'd you say?
Yeah, you're like, what'd you say? Denny Hamlin sucks. What? I can't hear you.
So, like I said, it's different for each track. Like if you go to Daytona, it that takes 45 seconds to go around. But then if you're at Martinsville, it's a half a mile, right? So that you're not getting away from the noise. There's
It's
cars
always there.
going. Yeah. So
Yeah,
uh,
it's a blast. I enjoy it, and that's what really makes me want to go to Talladega. I haven't been there yet, and I live so close to it, and it's a party. But I was going to go this year to Talladega, but the league, I chose to stay and race the league race versus going to Talladega.
Well, my wife and my well, me and my wife, I should say, we have a plan. Well, it's a plan I came together with because she wants to visit Nashville because she likes country music, and I'm kind of getting into country music now. But if she wants to go to Nashville, well,
I could see you in a cowboy hat.
yeah, Bristol is just down the road from that, and then sure, we're in Bristol, we might as well head to Talladega. So that's our retirement plan. You know, 30 years
That
from now.
so Nashville's like 4 hours, 4.5 hours for me, and then Talladega is 2.5. Atlanta's what would it take us, Anthony? 45 minutes because traffic sucks here. Bristol, I can be at Bristol in 4 hours.
yeah, he's in the prime spot. I had to drive 18 hours to get to him.
Daytona,
Jesus,
Daytona, Daytona takes me like 6.5 hours maybe to get to Daytona.
that's
So
not
I got
bad.
no, and then I can be at Martinsville in about 6.5 hours, which is where I'm from, Roanoke. Like my mom lives about 30 minutes from Martinsville.
So it takes you the same amount of time to go to Daytona than it was to go to Martinsville in your own state.
Well, I live in Georgia. That's in
Oh, sorry,
Virginia.
Georgia. Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
like
Richmond.
Richmond is a little further. So Anthony and I are planning on going to Richmond this year, and that would be like the midway point for him and I,
No, it's
roughly
not.
like
No, it's not.
it'd be. It's like almost 10 hours for me to get to Richmond.
Oh, so yeah, it might be pretty
Wow,
close. Yeah, I believe we're going with Colton and Aaron from Schenko and Williamsburg. Um,
that'd be
that
so cool.
that's the word anyway. I plan on getting a camper and camping there the weekend, and I think Brom's gonna haul his up, and it's gonna be a good weekend.
Epic.
But
Yeah.
te- we're gonna kind of wrap this up here. You wanna tell us something that we don't know about Albert Reid?
What
I
do you
know
think we
something
don't
about
know?
Irish people.
Go on, tell us.
They eat lots of potatoes.
Man, I love potatoes. Do you know we love potatoes here so much? We made a theme park based on potatoes.
A team park?
Yeah, theme park. THEME.
Al eats
Theme park.
potatoes.
Okay.
A
Theme
theme
park.
Al
park.
eat
Yeah.
Al eats potatoes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Hey, what's wrong with home
Um,
fries, French
yeah.
fries, and potatoes?
Hey, and another thing about over there is they like to breed ponies.
Apparently we do. You're telling me that, Robbie.
I'm sorry, I just had to put it in there. Thank you, Chat GPT, for letting me know that they're the leader of breeding ponies.
The leprechauns have to ride something.
Man, that leprechaun's been on the back of my car for as long as I've been racing and iRacing, painting cars. He's been there a long time. Um, yeah. So you're asking something you might not know. Uh, I do karate.
You
So I've done
do
karate.
karate.
I do karate. So I've been doing karate for 5 years in total. I did it for 3 years, but then I had to leave it. Well, I suppose you guys would call it high school because I was coming towards the end of my high school. My exams were coming up, so I basically woke up one day and I was like, yeah, I'm just sick of it. But when I left it, I was a month away from my black belt grading. So I'm pretty much trained as a black belt, but I don't have the official cert on it. So then my son got back into, well, my son got into karate 2 years ago, just down the road. It's a different form of it, but I had to essentially start from the start again as a white belt. And I remember the instructor was there, and he was like, "Okay, do a roundhouse kick," and I did a roundhouse kick, and he just stood up and looked at me, and he was like, "You've done this before." I was like, "Yeah, sorry, I haven't told you." So yeah, I'm going for my black belt in 4 weeks to make it official.
Oh
So
wow!
been training 2 years for that. So that's something.
Have you got to
I
break concrete with your foot?
dude, that's Hollywood, man. That's Hollywood. That's not the way I'm trained at all. I'm trained complete opposite. Just pure self defense is the way I'm trained for. That's it. Not in, I don't want to take any more like to do weapons training and stuff like that. But as soon as they pull out the weapons, I just I I don't really do that with the weapons. I'm more at the hands and feet, that type of thing. Like block and counter, strike. That's it. Down. You know, down them in one. There's if you have to throw two punches at someone, then it's not self defense. Self
Right.
defense should be just hit them once and they're gone. They're down. That's it. So other than that, yeah. I played a little bit of quarterback when I was in college, and I was in a band when I was in college. Played guitar. I was gonna send you some pictures, but I was like, no, I'm too embarrassed. So you just go on my Facebook and look up yourself if you want. If you're friends with me.
Did you have long hair?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah,
Brom
really, really
used to
long.
have long hair too when we first started racing. When I first met him, he was up here with ponytails.
And he pulled on them.
Pull them a bit too hard. Look where they're gone now.
He sent me his ponytail in a Ziploc bag, and I keep it under my pillow when I sleep.
That's
You,
right.
do you just every night? Do you just sniff it a
Oh,
bit? Do you?
it's starting to lose its scent. um, well, Al, I want to thank you for coming on here. I want to thank you for basically being ORL's IT department, a paint designer for everyone here at ORL, and a league admin. We appreciate everything you do for us, and and love having you here.
It's good to be here. I like it here. It's a home here.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate everything you do, your team, as an admin, everything you do to help the league grow and get bigger as we continue to grow. Um, so definitely enjoyed having you on the podcast, and look forward to seeing you out on the track Sunday at Dover.
We get
Ain't
over
it?
this Sunday.
It's
Is it
Dover,
Dover?
Dover
Yeah.
Sunday, and then the cutoff race is Darlington. So
Ooh,
So
Darlington. Cool. Cool. Yeah.
But anywho, I guess we'll talk again Wednesday when we have our race review for the last race, which should be an interesting race review. And as always, we'd like to thank our sponsors: Williamsburg Contracting, Shinko Custom Diecast, Land and Sea, and RT3 Designs. They're a big part of our league. Everything they do helps us grow and continue to put on a good league. And you got anything, Anthony?
no, Al, you want to give any shout outs before we take off?
Yeah, I have a few shout outs. First, I gotta mention my wife because if obviously I didn't have her, I wouldn't be upstairs here racing with you guys. I'd probably be downstairs in my kitchen. So thank you, wife, for buying me the rig so I can race upstairs. Orel, the admins, man, like thank you so much for what you guys do. It's a real nice environment that we have here, and I hope it continues and grows. Obviously, to the drivers, I say this every time I'm speaking with Peacemaker, man, the drivers are the backbone of the league. If you do not have drivers turning up every week, you don't have a league. So thanks to all the drivers actually turn up every week. Thanks to Peacemaker as well. Man, Aaron is I listened to Gateway just there today. The Gateway broadcast, man, he's so good. He's so good at what he does. So appreciate Aaron for what he does. Aaron at Williamsburg contracting for what he does to the league. You know, Colton at Shenko, to Chad at Land and Sea, and obviously to Rob at RT3 for what he does as well. I gotta give a special shout out though to Adolfo. My man Adolfo, man, if we can give an award to someone for like the coolest name in the league, we gotta give it to Adolfo.
Adolfo.
And for the guy to have his own name written on like a whiteboard behind him, just so like Peacemaker could pronounce it correctly, I thought that was epic, man. Adolfo, love you, bro. Vamos. That's all I got to say to you on that. Gotta thank the guys at RSF1 as well. You probably see RSF1 is on the side of my car. That's the league that I helped set up with the F1 league years and years ago. So I still run it on my cars to this day because obviously I'm a founder of that league, and the league is still going. Jesus, 6 years later. Do you
Wow.
know? Yeah, 5 or 6 years later, the league's still going. So I don't like I'm not active in the league. I don't participate in the league. I jump in every so often, or I'll watch one of the streams on Twitch. As soon as I post something, the guys are just like, it's all type of thing, But appreciate the guys there. Gotta give a special mention to the guys in RSF1, Torben, Timmy, Moses, Charismatic. Yeah, thanks guys. It's been a blast so far, and hope to do more of it. I think we're onto the right track. We just gotta keep running with the same formula, and that's it. Thanks to you guys.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you on the track Friday night in the late model series and Sunday at Dover in the next gens. Chat soon.
Later.